Been a long week, hasn't it? And I know you've reached the end, and there's something to be said, but they're like, all right, we're going to let you be the last speaker. You're like, all right, this could mean a couple of things. I mean, to be the last guy at the end of a long week, you're like, oh, God, here we go, one more. But I'm taking it as having the opportunity to leave a lasting impression on some key things for you. And I've been looking forward to this since Major Carrick and I talked a couple of months ago. I've been excited to have the opportunity just to share a few words, and I promise you there will be few, because I'm a lifelong communicator in a lot of different ways, and this is a freebie. I didn't know I was going to say this, but I'll give you a freebie. When you're speaking to groups, there are what we call the 5 B's of communication. Be brief, brother, be brief. Guaranteed. So we're going to do that, because I know you've been exposed to a lot of things this week, that you've had a week that's been devoted to the principles of leadership. And even beyond that, I hope you recognize it's not just principles of active leadership, but about the mindset of leadership. Are you tracking with me? It's about getting your mind in the right place to start thinking about how to be the leader that you've been created to be. And that you've developed, I hope, some essential skills in the middle of that. So I hope that you understand the practical aspects of what you have experienced, but also, and this is so key, I think, for your personal growth, in understanding that you are in the process of becoming that leader. Now, I use the word becoming in many of my conversations. I'm an ordained minister, I'm a credentialed life coach, I do a lot of different things, and I use that word becoming because I believe we are all in the process of becoming. I don't care what age you are, whether you are 17, 18, 19, 20, 51, 71, 67, if you're drawing breath, you're becoming. You have opportunities to grow. You have opportunities to expand your skill set, your knowledge, and your ability to help lead others. And you've heard tremendous stuff from military leaders, and I'll be straight up honest with you. I did not go into the military, have tremendous respect for the military, but I'm a civilian, and I want to share this principle that I think carries across all fields, and it's the simple characteristic of this. Leaders are generous. Leaders are generous. What are leaders? See, you are paying attention. How about that? But I want to maybe break that idea of generosity down a little bit differently for you in a way that might help you understand the full scope, if you will, of what it means to be a generous leader. So I'm going to take a step back, and we're going to zoom out a little bit, and then we'll zoom back in for you. There are core needs for us as humans. And I'm speaking to this as someone who has studied human psychology and the sociology of communities and how all this comes together. We have 3 core needs. Now, I know you may think, okay, food, as a college student, food's always important. Man, let's just be honest. Right? Always want to eat, right? We got to have shelter. I need a place to stay, right? I like safety. Those are all important physiological needs, but I want to burrow in a little bit deeper to the human soul, if you'll give me just that minute to do so. And there are 3 core needs that come out of our identity as humans. One is transcendence. I know I'm floating a big word on a Friday morning, right? If you think about transcendence, it is that desire within us to connect to something that is higher. So for you, that may be a faith experience. It may be a spiritual thing for you. Perhaps it's a universal connection and understanding the universe that which we live in. But that is something deep within us. We're always looking for what that extra layer is, that extra level is. The second core need that we have is the need for community. It is within us where we are built to belong. We want to be part of a group, a like-minded, focused group. And that can obviously start with your family of origin, but then it expands to other things. Maybe it's a sports team that you're a part of. Maybe it's a club that you're engaged in. Clearly, it applies to all of you who happen to be dressed similarly, sitting in one room together on a Friday morning, that you are part of this community, and we are drawn towards that. So yes, transcendence is a core need. Community is a core need. The third is significance. Now, that's a word that has multiple meanings, right? When I say significance, it doesn't necessarily mean that you want your name in lights, although you may want your name in lights, and maybe there's nothing wrong with your name in lights. But the true concept of significance is that we want to know that what we do matters. We want to know that the life that we choose to lead has an impact. Whether that's the people immediately surrounding us, or sometimes those circles, as we expand in leadership, grow a little bit larger. But we want to know that what we do makes a difference. So transcendence, community, significance, and generosity plays us a part in each of those. We have a generosity of spirit that allows us to believe in something bigger and higher than ourselves. We have a generosity of trust as we build community and work with those that are around us. And then being generous in our desire and our willingness to make an impact in those that we encounter. And leaders understand how to do that. And this is a phrase that you may have heard before, and I'm one who usually, I kind of shy away from cliches. I always try and find another way to say it. That's just my MO. But I'm going to go ahead and resort to the cliche to give us our place to start with today. And we talk about making a significant impact. Leaders learn to be generous with their time, their talent, and their treasure. Give me a wave if you've heard that before. Anybody? Okay, a couple of you have heard that before. Be generous with your time, your talent, and your treasure. You can phrase that in different ways. Be generous with your wisdom and your abilities and your experiences and your resources. But it creates that mindset within us that I don't just exist for me. Ooh, hold up now. I don't just exist for me. A leader who only exists for themselves is not a leader. And nobody will follow. You probably heard this sometime this week. If you're a leader and you look behind and nobody's following, you're not leading, you're just out for a walk. But what you have heard from incredible leaders this week are leaders who have been generous with their time, their talent, and their treasure. Many of you are already doing that. I know that this is a core that prides itself on community service. The willingness to give up time on a weekend, to give up time during the week, to give up some sleep, to go out and help others in the community. That is the mark of a leader. Doesn't always have to be big and bold and posted on social media. Sometimes the simple generosity of time means being willing to listen to somebody when you recognize that they just need you to be present in that moment. And a leader makes time for other people. And sometimes our time can be one of the most precious resources we have, right? Certainly one that you feel you have a lack of, free time, when you're in the middle of trying to keep up with everything you're keeping up with. So yes, let's be generous with our time, but let's also be generous with our talent. That you have tremendous abilities. Each of you uniquely gifted with abilities. Each of you uniquely gifted with your own intelligence. And to not use that in a generous way to benefit others is robbing the world of you. And it's your willingness to do so that speaks to your nature and your character. Again, not going out there like, watch me, check me out, see what I can do. But are you willing to use that to help others? pardon me, if you will, for just a moment. I'll give you just a slight personal example that I hope doesn't come across as me patting myself on the back. I have a voice that is fairly recognizable. It tends to get people's attention, and I've learned to use that voice for various things. But one of the key things that I try and make sure I use that voice for is not just doing radio ads, not just reading somebody else's script, because I want to use the sound of my voice, but I also want to make sure I use the character of my voice. Are you tracking with me? I want to be able to speak to those things, to offer hope, to offer encouragement in ways that benefit other people. You have the ability to do the same thing. You don't have to sound like me. You need to sound like you. You need to speak from you. And you need to be willing to share you with the people around you in your community. That's what a leader does. Learn to recognize your voice and use your voice to the best impact you can possibly have for those around you. And then, yes, there is the opportunity to share in your treasure, to give what you have to benefit others. Now, if I were to come to you now and say, hey, listen, we're going to take out some donations for scholarships, you're like, I'm a college student. I don't have a whole lot to give you. But I watch you guys be generous with each other with your treasure, right? Because if you're at the store and something, you got coffee, somebody's like, I got you, man. Don't worry about it. I'll pick you up. You pick me up next time. This is what we do. We take care of each other. So there are ways to be generous with the treasure you have. Nobody's asking you to give away what you don't have. You be generous with the things that you have available as your resources. And when you start describing all of that, you start thinking about how all of that applies to us. To me, that describes an alumnus of Georgia Military College. It's somebody who recognizes how other leaders were generous with their time, talent, and treasure while they were here, after they've left, and they say, you know what, I received these opportunities because of this, and now I want to make sure that other people also receive these same opportunities, to be that generous leader. And you're experiencing it now. You've experienced it this week, all through LCDC. And I know it's been a long week. It's been a lot coming at you in a short period of time. I hope that you see the benefits of it. But what you have experienced is the generosity of many leaders. The team out of our commandant's office and their willingness to invest and teach and train and push and sometimes encourage and sometimes holler at you. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to invest in you. You've got a military science department cadre who is continuing to do the same thing, to share their wisdom, to share their experience, because they genuinely care about your development and how you're growing. You've got panel members that have come up here and guest speakers throughout the week that are giving up of their time and their talent and their treasure because they really believe in who you are as developing and growing leaders. We have LESs all the time where speakers come in. We've got one coming next week with a guy who graduated here in 1996, and he wants to come back because he wants to be with you, and he wants to see if he can help you on your pathway towards becoming who you're trying to be. Some of you are sitting in this room. It's experiencing the generosity of our alumni donors because you've got scholarship, and those scholarship dollars have come from other alumni who once sat where you're sitting many, many years ago, and have said, I see how GMC helped me get where I'm trying to go and where I am today, and I want to give somebody else that chance too. So yes, let me write a check, because I'm at a point in my life where I can do that, and I can provide a scholarship so somebody else can keep moving forward and developing as a leader. You see how all this comes together? This is an alumni investment that compounds over time. Because the people that are providing scholarships for you today, they came because somebody provided scholarships for them. Somebody gave them a chance. Now, I know we all have different learning styles, right? Some of you are auditory learners, so you're digging that. Some of you not so much. You're like, okay, all right, what's next? Well, I got a little visual for you. How about that? So if you would imagine, if you will, this pitcher of water, let's just say this is Georgia Military College, right? And somebody put water in this thing, right? And we're going to pretend that this water is that leadership, that generous leadership we've been talking about. So this has been filled up by over 143 years of leadership and the legacy here at Georgia Military College. And let's say that this is you. Maybe this is one of your friends, because we're not all the same size glasses. So you come to GMC, and there are people that speak, and maybe there's a speaker that really resonated with you, and it filled up your cup. Absolutely filled up your cup. Well, and maybe you got a little scholarship dollar, too, so we'll pour a little bit in there for some scholarship dollars. But now you get a chance to impact maybe the person sitting next to you, or the person you share a dorm room with, or whoever's in your company. So maybe you invest a little bit in them, so you give them some of what you got. And now you both have some. Their cup was empty. And now you, as a generous leader, have been willing to pour back into them. You're like, well, nah, I'm a little emptier than I was before. Well, now maybe they give you back a little bit, and they invest in you. And they're like, oh, we need some more. Well, good news is we've got an institution based on other people being generous that can give some to you and can give a little more to you. And you're like, that is fabulous. Now I need to give a little bit back to GMC so that they can pour into this person over here who hasn't quite made it to GMC yet. Do you see what happens? Dude, we need to be filled up, we get filled up. We fill up other people, and then we get refilled. That's the cycle of generosity, my friends. That's how that works. And leaders embrace this. Leaders look for ways to make this a real part of their everyday life. So let us begin by recognizing our individual needs as leaders, but also recognizing that everybody we encounter has those same needs, and we get to be part of helping them become the best version of who they were created to be. So as you start to look at transitioning out of Georgia Military College, some of you, in a couple months, some of you, we get the pleasure of seeing again next year. You're like, no. It's all good. Trust me, it's good. You committed a whole different level of leadership. But I want you to just think about this. How can you be the best GMC alum possible? Just a couple of things to help guide you in this so that you can continue to be ones who are refilling and being filled up. Stay connected to us. Let us know when you're doing well. Let us know where you're going next. Let us hear about your new assignment, your new job opportunity, neat things that are happening. We love to hear how our alumni are being successful. Next, we ask you to just spread the word. Talk about, hey, this is what happened to me at GMC. This is how people cared about me. Yes, let's just call it what it is. We know everything's not always coming up smelling roses, right? Things are sometimes very difficult. But when you get a little distance away, you think, gosh, I can see the positives. I can see the people that just genuinely cared about who I am and where I was trying to go and what I was trying to accomplish. So spread the word. And in spreading the word, tell your story. Your story is something that nobody else has. It is yours to tell. To talk about how you have grown up, talk about the people that have cared about you, the people that have poured themselves into you to help you become who you are today. And then let us not forget that last core need I talked about, significance. Let's make an impact. Let's make a difference with those that we have a chance to lead, those that we have a chance to influence. This is what I always say. I remind myself of this constantly because you may feel overwhelmed going, I don't know how I can do all this. Here's a simple leadership principle. Do what you can with what you have where you are. I'll say it again. Do what you can with what you have where you are. That's all anybody's asking of you. That right there will bring you a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose. It'll take you back to those core needs of connecting you to something higher than yourself, putting yourself in a vibrant community of people, like-minded, like-hearted, after the same thing, and you will see the significance that you are created to search after. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Because the truth is, you are each part of the ongoing legacy of leadership at Georgia Military College. So let's leave it better than we found it. And that is how we return with honor. Huh! Hey, you guys have fun at the military ball tonight. As always, you make my day. So thanks for letting me hang out with you. Sir?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.